Yo, what's going on, everybody? You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. I miss Victory Monday. It's just so much better. My life is so much better when I get to show up to work and be recklessly optimistic about this football team. But one thing I'm always going to have to do is have something to lean on. And you know what? I'm actually optimistic following that game. I don't believe in moral victories. Moral victories are not a thing for winners. And we are winners. New York Giants fans are winners. But I will say this. There's actually some positives from last night's game. And we didn't learn anything new. Daniel Jones sucks. We've known that. We did. We don't need to. We're going to rip him on today's show. Don't worry about that. But we don't need to be too upset about yesterday. It verified everything we believe about this team. The QB stinks. The offensive coordinator is calling a game left-handed because his quarterback stinks. And there are a lot of promising young players on this team. And I will go as far to say the New York Giants are an average quarterback away from being in the P word. Truly do believe that. But the thing is, the hardest thing to do in sports is find an average quarterback and an above average one. And as long as number 8 is on this team will be picking in the top 10. And unfortunately, that may not just be high enough to get you a franchise quarterback. Coming up on today's show, we got to talk about what's going on with the New York Giants. Dexter Lawrence skips his post-game media availability. That's not good with the trade deadline right around the corner. Dexter Lawrence has been very vocal following post-games this year, talking about being disappointed. Brian Burns played through injury yesterday, played his best game as a Giant, and you lost. But he also sounded pretty defeated in the post-game press conference. Let's get a real one roll call going on today's show, because I'll tell you this much. If you're here today, if you're one of the 82 people in the chat, and you are watching after what happened last night, you are a real one. It's easy to quit when you're 2-4. It's easy to not show up as a Giant fan on Monday morning after a primetime loss for the 14th time with Daniel Jones as your quarterback. And the fact that we already got 100 people in the building, I appreciate it. If you're a real one, drop a real one for me. Because I have a feeling today it's only going to be the real ones in the chat. This is where the sledding gets tough, and I appreciate everybody that's in the building. Cha says, my dog bit me because I make him watch Daniel Jones. Bronx boy, what up? Shout out to Zach Vela. Tenacious Knight says, what's going on with Dexter Lawrence? He did not hang around in the locker room to speak to the media. He skipped his post-game media availability. And I believe that the Giants defense is fed up. I believe the Giants defense is fed up with the lack of production and the lack of help that they are getting from Daniel Jones and this offense. RG77, what up? Marty's in the building. What up, Marty? Ty Man the Buckeye, what up, homie? Shout out to King Lobo, Ox, Jared Ricks. Cha says, my wife filed for divorce because I make her go to MetLife and watch Jones. Cruel and unusual behavior. From her or from you making her go? What's going on, Mr. Rick? Dennis says, things will get better. Dolphins fans feel the same way. I like both the Dolphins and the Giants. It has to get better. The only thing I would say, though, Dennis, is the Dolphins stink because their starting quarterback is hurt. The Giants stink because their starting quarterback is the second most expensive player in the National Football League. A little bit different. Right there. What drama? Nope. Dexter Lawrence skips his post-game press conference with the media. Left the locker room early. And if you've listened to any of his media availabilities after losses this year, he is fed up. I don't believe anything's going to come of it, but I don't think it's a good look that your captain, your best player, can't even speak to the media after the game. And it's nothing against him. I'd be fed up too. RG77, what up? Jermaine Mo Brown, yes, sir. Shout out to y'all. Sam Jackson in the building. Marty Party. Nolan's hanging out. Kenzie's hanging out. Rick Torchier, what's up, my guy? Shout out to Crumble Cookies. He says, Marsh, you are incredibly... Wow, thank you, brother. Thank you. That's awfully kind. K. Brief You says, can you blame Dexter? No, I don't blame Dexter Lawrence at all. If I was the best non-quarterback in the NFL and my efforts weren't mattering because we can't score more than 7 points, I'd be pissed the hell off too. King Lobo says, I've been upset all night and morning. I have as well, brother. It's been a rough day. It's been a rough day. Marty coming in with a $10 super chat. Shout out to Marty. That's my guy right there. Marty, you know what? The fact that you're here on a Monday after Sunday Night Football, man, that fires me up a little bit. Thank you for the $10 super chat. It says, I'm torn with this question. If we draft a QB, I'm optimistic. But if we stick with Jones, I'm pessimistic. I could say this pretty confidently. Daniel Jones will be cut by the New York Giants. I am 99.9% sure the Giants are going to cut Daniel Jones after this season to save $19.6 million on the salary cap, avoid the $41 million cap hit. And it's not even that I haven't been told or I have been told. Let's just connect the dots here, right? Giants tried to trade it for a quarterback last year. Giants were scouting quarterbacks after the playoff year. The Giants went out and gave Drew Lock $5 million. The Giants know that their starting quarterback of the future is not in the building. We'll get to Rob Jigga's super chat coming up in a second. Rob, I appreciate you, my man, but I got to give a major shout out to the sponsor of today's show, and that is Game Time. If you're looking for last-minute tickets to go watch the Giants, you're definitely going to want to save $20 when you're going to watch this team play. So download the app and use the promo code CHATSPORTS, and you're going to get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. You get the best seats for the lowest prices guaranteed. You get to see your seat view in the app. You get to access your tickets from your phone. And if you want to resell your tickets, it is extremely easy. Prices of tickets actually go down. Last minute tickets and flash deals and lowest price guarantee. Shout out to Game Time. It's the only app I use to buy tickets. They've taken care of me, and I always know I'm getting the best deal on the market because I'm using the all-in pricing feature. No hidden fees. Price you see is the price you pay. And I'm also using the Game Time Picks feature. It's a feature in the app that pretty much consolidates your app, your feed, to make it that much more easy to go see your favorite teams or concerts perform. So download the app, create the account, use the promo code CHATSPORTS, and you're going to get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. What time is it? It is game time. Shout out to Game Time. Sports show, sports sponsor. Be a real one. Rob Jigga, what up, my man? $10 super chat, Rob. I appreciate you for being here. He says, whoa! Wasn't expecting a show today. Thank you so much for doing this. Did Andrew Thomas really get hurt? Missed you guys a lot yesterday. Effing real one all day. Tankathon has us as 11th as of now. I don't even ever have to go to tankathon.com because I know my man Rob Jigga is going to let me know, and I appreciate that. Did Andrew Thomas really get hurt? He got hurt enough, Smitty, to have to get an x-ray after the game, and he had an MRI done this morning.
Yeah, that's such a brutal blow, man. The hate he got last night.
Disgusting.
The hate he got last night and playing hurt, it just that breaks my heart because Andrew Thomas is as valuable as there is a piece to this Giants roster.
He was tasked with blocking Trey Hendrickson.
One-on-one. Whole game.
15 times. 14 times he won that matchup. One time he did not.
For 20-plus, 25-plus, I'd argue, teams in this league, Trey Hendrickson is seeing double teams for a majority of the game.
Yeah. Look, people want to blame Andrew Thomas for last night. I would respond and ask this question to ask yourself. What are you? Are you a Giants fan or are you a Daniel Jones fan? Because I'm getting to a point where I don't think you can be both. Because if you are a Daniel Jones fan, that means you are supporting and wanting him to play, and I don't think that that's best for the team. But whatever. yes, Thomas did get hurt. We don't know the severity of the injury. It was serious enough, though. He was seriously limping. He got an x-ray after the game. He had an MRI this morning, and we're going to keep you up to date on that. That's why you subscribe. Guy gave up 2 sacks yesterday, and we call it the worst performance ever. Did you guys know that he was graded out as the best player for the New York Giants offense yesterday by Pro Football Focus?
And you guys are like, people are lucky that we're even admitting to 2 sacks given up.
Yeah.
Only one of them counts. You were down 10 with a minute left when you gave up that last sack. You think Daniel Jones was making anything happen? No.
He was graded out as the best offensive player for the Giants against the Cincinnati Bengals. Andrew Thomas, the number 1 highest grade in Week 6 on the offensive side of the ball.
And that's just why you can't look at stats like that, stats like the 2 sacks given up in a vacuum. Because when you factor in the responsibility that Andrew Thomas had all night, and plus the context of the last sack he was giving up, obviously he did a fine job against Trey Hendrickson. It's not like the rest of the offensive line didn't face any wins against the pass rush either. Like the O-line was not perfect last night. He averaged 3 yards a carry. Still not a great run blocking unit.
Yeah. Offensive line wasn't great last night, but they were more than good enough to go win a football game.
100%.
More than good enough to score 7 points as well. My man Thunder in the chat, what up? He said Thomas wasn't hurt. His feelings were hurt. Boy got spanked regardless. I don't really agree. He gave up 1 sack that mattered. He gave up 3 pressures on the night, and he was your highest graded out player by a non-biased source. I just can't agree with that. I can't agree with that. Says Thomas looked good, just got beat. Dude was better than him last night. On 1 rep, he was better than him. Yes. In 1 rep, he was better. I'll say it again. Andrew Thomas was matched up 1-on-1 with no help versus Trey Hendrickson 15 times. Andrew Thomas won 14 of those matchups. But that's the life of a tackle. That's the life of an offensive lineman. 2 mistakes, and people are going to think that you had a horrible game.
Yep.
That's why I love doing this job. I like to put color into the picture of the game, and I would just advise everybody to not blame that game on Andrew Thomas, because you might as well write "I'm an idiot" on my forehead.
You can do the same thing as well if you were blaming Greg Joseph.
If you have uttered the words that the Giants lost this game because Greg Joseph, I would question if you passed elementary mathematics. Because, Smitty, how many kicks did he miss?
2, right?
2. 6 points.
6
right?
points.
3 plus 3 is 6?
Yeah.
How many points did the Giants lose by?
They lost by 10.
So even if he made both kicks, the Giants still would have lost.
Somebody said some situation about him having an opportunity to make or miss a 3rd one. Even if he hits that, 9 points.
Guys, we can't blame a kicker when the offense scores 7 points and the quarterback is the 2nd most expensive player in the NFL this year. And you picked up the kicker who was a free agent in late September.
Yep.
I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair. But I'm not here to judge fair or foul. I'm here to give my opinion. I am done trying to convince people of my opinion. I'm going to present the data, and you are just going to need to come to the conclusion yourself. And I think that we have data today that is going to illustrate the point that the New York Giants are being held back by Daniel Jones, and they are an average quarterback away from winning this division this year. If the New York Giants had the 15th best quarterback in the NFL this year, they are 4-2 and potentially 5-1. I can't do it. I cannot defend what I saw from that offense yesterday. That was a joke. Nope says, was Banks good? I haven't yet Banks, sorry. I haven't yet got to go back and watch every single snap of Banks in coverage. But what I will say is the Giants defense as a whole was awesome. They did a great job on Banks. They did a good job on Jamar Chase. It was a lot of bracket coverage on Chase. More so, Banks was on T. Higgins, and they were one-on-one in that kind of the Bill Belichick type of defensive approach. You put your best corner on their wide receiver 2, and then you put your CB2 and a safety on your wide receiver 1. I have no problem with how anyone on the defense played yesterday.
Yeah.
You gave up 10 points to Cincinnati in 58 minutes of football, and then they got a touchdown at the end that didn't matter.
Joe Burrow didn't throw a touchdown.
And you lost. I was proud of the defense, man. And that's the most disappointing part, Smitty. Like, this defense, this is a championship caliber defense. First in sacks, first in tackles for loss, top 5 in touchdowns allowed.
It's about as good as it gets.
I don't know what more we want from this team. They haven't allowed more than 21 points one time this season. The Giants defense has not allowed more than 21 points one time this year, and you've lost 4 games.
They have the same amount of touchdowns let up as the amount of touchdowns have been scored by the offense. And you're 2-4.
Not good. Not good. Shout out to all 250 people in the building. I really appreciate everybody showing up. If everyone could take 1 second to help the channel by liking the video, I would appreciate it. That would mean a lot to me. That would mean a lot to Smitty.
It would.
The more likes on these videos, the better they do. These are our jobs. These are our professions. This is how we put food on the table for our families. And if everyone could just do something that's free, like clicking the thumbs up icon, I would greatly appreciate it. 250 watching. It'd be cool if we got to 150 likes. If you're a real one and you've liked the video, type me. Would appreciate it. What up, Frank? Said, what's good, man? Shout out to Garcia Tattoo Studio. I appreciate you. GTS. Luis says, Jones isn't it, but how do we look forward to Philly? I'm not ready to look forward to Philly. I got to look back at yesterday. I got to see the mistakes. I got to think about ways to clean up the mistakes. Tomorrow, we are on to Philadelphia. Today, we're still on the Week 6 loss. It hasn't even been 24 hours. Shout out to Luis, says, love this channel. I appreciate you, man. RG77 says, I'm changing my profile picture to anything, not Danny Duds. Yeah. Ox says, Marsh Cam Ward throws a mean, sleek ball. Beautiful ball. Beautiful ball. Mark Estrada says, wait, how was I late? Did you start early? We did start early. I was ready. I was just sitting here ready. I said, Smitty, send us live. I got to freaking talk about it.
Yes, sir.
I got to talk about it. Major shout out to Mark Estrada yesterday.
Yes,
he was
sir.
balling out in the watch party. Mark, thank you, brother. Thanks for being here. And the fact you're here back again today to talk some Giants football, that means a lot. And we're going to get to a mailbag in about 35 minutes or so. And I just want to take it as a vent session. You just have a thought, you have a comment, you have a take, you have a question, you just want to say something. We're going to talk about it in a mailbag. So drop your questions down in the comments and use hashtag Giants. That way producer Smitty can pop them up on screen through our software. I'll take Wilson right now, to be honest.
You had the opportunity and you didn't do it.
You had the opportunity for Russell Wilson. You had the opportunity for Sam Darnold. You had the opportunity for Justin Fields. You had the opportunity for Baker Mayfield. And they decided to roll with Daniel Jones over all of them. Nope says, I got stuff to say. Drop it. Drop them in the chat. Thunder says, so what are we doing this season? Are they going to sit him or not? It's a waste letting him play. I do not disagree. I do not disagree. I agree, brother. Nope says, OMG, we could have got Sam Darnold. Yep, you could have signed Sam Darnold. Scotty says, I'd take Gardner Minshew. Cha says, did Daniel Jones make anyone else twist and turn all night, not sleep? Lost a night's worth of sleep. Amazingly enough, Mr. Rick, there are a lot of people that believe that he played well enough to win that game. And that is something that just does not compute in my head. Just does not compute in my head. I don't understand how anyone can honestly say that. You scored 7 points. It's 2025, ladies and gentlemen.
Against a bottom 10 defense. Currently a bottom, or going into that
Going
game,
into the day, they
bottom
were
3 defense.
Yep. They had given up the second most points.
Pretty confident they'll end up being a bottom 10 defense in the league. But last night going in, they were bottom 3, man. You put up 7 points.
They were giving up 29 points per game coming into last night. Rob Simpy. What up, Rob? Rob Simpy, MVP of the year, MVP of the season. Shout out to Rob Simpy. Mike G in the building. We got all the cool kids in the chat today. Let's go.
All the OGs.
Shout out to Mike G. That's my guy. Mike G, can you stop hitting dingers today and let Aaron Judge maybe borrow a dinger? An Aaron Judge dinger today would be sick, Mike G.
We're going to need that. We're going to need that. Who's rooting on the Yanks later? Come on. ALCS, game 1. Let's get 1. We need 8 more. Let's get 1. We need
8 more. 8 more. Mark Estrada says, I've heard talks of Devontae trade to the Giants.
G-Men.
I have heard nothing when it comes to a Devontae Adams trade to the Giants. But Mark, maybe you have the inside source, my brother. You have the inside source.
Yeah, Mark. Me and Mark are always in the same wave.
You and Mark Estrada.
With the same teams, man.
Same, but different. Same person, different font.
Yep.
I've heard some shorties say that one before. Rob Simpy says, we have made huge strides on D, and we just keep sliding and wasting talent on. I know, Rob, I know.
Huge D strides.
Huge D strides and a lot of sliding. I would do illegal things to be a top 15 offense. I don't feel like I'm asking for a lot.
Top 15 offense puts you in the P word.
I think if you're a top 20 offense, this team's in the P word. Marty, $5 super chat. What up, my man? Thank you for the love. He says they took a lot of stupid penalties as well. Do you mean like the Giants committed a lot of penalties?
Yeah.
Let's see. That's why I love stats.
Because men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Could be wrong here. So it says the Giants had 2 penalties for 9 yards, and the Bengals had 6 penalties for 67 yards. I don't know if that's swapped.
Giants had that.
Giants had the illegal man downfield. Yeah, it was 2 penalties because the play where Slayton was flat DPI, that was more than 9 yards.
Yeah.
So the Giants had 2 penalties last night for 9 yards. It did wipe away a 56-yard play, but you had 2 penalties for 9 yards. Yeah, JL, it was essentially a 60-yard penalty, 100% true.
The Giants didn't commit that, did? Yeah.
Yeah, it was the illegal man downfield.
Oh,
but only 2 penalties were called on the Giants yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really blame the penalties. And Smitty, like, again, overcoming a play that wipes off a 60-yarder is really tough.
Yeah.
But can he do it one time? Can we overcome adversity one time? I thought what you said yesterday was perfect. It has to be a utopia for him. He has to have the best offensive line. He needs to have a great run game. He needs to have great weapons. And now I've learned that he needs the defense to shut the other team out to win. He has
It's
to
1 score.
1 score. You have to have a defense that holds the team to 1 score. You need to have a great play caller. You need to have a great O-line coach. You need to have a great O-line. You need to have great running backs. And you need your receivers to never drop a pass. And also, you can never, ever, ever have a penalty that eliminates a chunk play. He can't overcome any sort of adversity that is thrown his way.
Just one piece.
And he's the second highest paid player in the NFL this year. It's tough. It's tough. Mike G, $20 super chat, my man. He keeps hitting dingers. Save him for a judge. Save him for a judge today, Mike G. Says, Marsh, appreciate you and the commitment to the channel despite the Giants being so bad. Who is the GM and head coach next year?
Run it back.
And I think that's what I want.
You got to give him a shot.
And I think that's what I want. And I'm going to go as far as to say I want Brian Daboll and Joe Shane to be the head coach and GM for the 2025 season and the 2026 season, no matter what happens in 2025. Give them 2 years with a rookie quarterback. So give them the opportunity to draft their guy this year. Let him play his rookie season. Then, Smitty, I don't care how bad that season gets. They get another year.
Yeah.
If you don't think that they deserve that, you fire them now. You don't let them pick the rookie quarterback. But as soon as you decide that Daboll and Shane are the QB for next year, they need to be the head coach and GM for 2026. Because I don't want to draft a rookie quarterback, and in their rookie quarterback's second year, he's on his second head coach and second GM. He's got to be put in a situation where there is some continuity, where there is some stability, or you're going to just continue this ever-living cycle of ass.
Oh, my God, man.
Yeah, it's Thunder. It's 3 years into the future with this group, or now you fire them. And I believe it needs to just be the next 3 years. The next 3 years, this should be these guys. Before we get to LTD Super Chat, I don't know why I do this. I let comments like these just get under my skin. And I told myself, you know what, I'm going to do better today. But I just have to say this. Kevin says, dude, I love the content, but when you get sad, the mood feels real low. I get you're a fan, but it makes it difficult to watch because you go on a spin-off of DJ. I love the positive attitude, not the lows. What it sounds like you want, Kevin, is, and I appreciate the kind words, I appreciate you being here. It sounds like you just want me to tell you that there's rainbows and pots of gold after every game, even when they lose. That's not how I'm going to work as someone that covers this team. That's not how I am going to talk about this team. When the Giants play good, and I think I've been pretty fair on this. We told you Daniel Jones played good last week. I'm not here to rub your butts. I'm not here to wipe your mouths. And I'm not here to burp you and tell you everything is going to be okay. My job is to be an unbiased, opinionated talk show host of the New York Football Giants. Do you want me to lie to you, or do you want me to be real? I think a lot of people tune into this show to hear my real opinion, and I take that very, very, that is a high honor. That is a high honor that 58,000 people have subscribed to this channel, and they want to hear me keep it real. I'm not going to lie to you, and that's because I care too much about you. I can't do that. That's not fair, Smitty. What am I supposed to do? Come up here today and say Daniel Jones is our franchise quarterback and they played good enough, he just needs to try harder?
Maybe if he tries harder, he'll win the next one.
I appreciate your comment. I appreciate your concern. But I just can't do that. And that's because I care too much about you.
We're going to come on this show today and tell you that interception in the red zone, there's positives we can look through there. We can spin that.
Like, what do you want me to say?
Throwing across your body.
To throw it away.
To throw it away, except you throw it, 15 yards and short of the end zone?
I'm not even trying to, be an asshole. And I am an asshole. But Kevin, what you're saying is, and this is what I've learned. A lot of people this year have been like, I liked your videos a lot more 2 years ago. Smitty, what happened 2 years ago?
I think they made the playoffs. I'm
not
sure, but they might have made the playoffs.
They only want content, positive content, about their football team when they play well.
You know what that is? That's the definition of fair weather.
That is thank you.
That is and that might be hard for some people to hear, that they're, in reality, are a fair weather fan because they only care and they only want to hear it when the team is good. That's the definition of it.
Dragon, what I would say to you, though, is my job comes before me being a fan. Being a fan doesn't pay my bills. Being a fan doesn't put a roof over my head. Covering this team in an as honest way as I can is what's gonna put. People are like, you're a fan, though. I am a fan. But I didn't get this job because I'm a fan of the Giants. I got this job because I can cover a football team. Whatever. Sorry for the tangent. I'm just sick of those comments. I'm sick of it. People only want to listen to content and media and outside mediums these days, Smitty, that will tell them and reassure them of their beliefs. No one wants to listen to anything that challenges their beliefs.
Yep.
And that's what I do. I only listen to people that challenge me, that make me learn something, that offer a different perspective. I don't want someone to rub my butt and tell me that the Giants are going to be great with Daniel Jones at quarterback. Why would you want that? It's not the truth.
You're living in a you're saying to yourself you want to live in a fantasy land.
I don't know.
It's not what we do here.
And it hurts my heart as a Giants fan to see Giants fans do that. That's what hurts. And you know what? I actually think this team is freaking good. They just have a horrible quarterback. LTD.
That's what he's saying here.
Lose Tank Dinkins, my man. Thank you for always being here. And a $20 super chat. More than kind. Thank you. Says, what's good, my brother? Do you know how good QBs sometimes have bad games? Well, Jones is a bad QB that sometimes has good games. Do you agree? 1,000% LTD. You know what we call those players? Backup quarterbacks. That's what backup quarterbacks do. The only difference between backup quarterbacks and starting quarterbacks is one word. Consistency. Consistency. And Daniel Jones is not consistently good enough to be a starting quarterback on a team that consistently has success. I don't know. What do you think?
Do the numbers lie to you? We're going to get into the numbers soon. And if you guys can come to a conclusion that Daniel Jones is good after them, then maybe you do live in a fantasy land.
Backup quarterbacks are good enough to go out and win you one game. Your team, like it's like in sports, Smitty. You see a coach get fired. You see a quarterback get hurt. The team has enough emotion. They're able to do it one game. But what happens the second game? You return to earth. You're back to reality.
I would love to know, there is a large sample size of this, what backup quarterbacks' records are after a win. I'm sure it is
like a random spot win, too.
Random spot win. Yeah. It is absolutely horrific, I bet. When's the last time Daniel Jones won 2 in a row?
Can someone figure that out? It's definitely the 2022 season. He didn't do it this year. They only have 2 wins.
How many times has Daniel Jones won 2 in a row in his career? It's a joke.
Rob Simpy, that's hilarious. Hey, Rivera, what's good, dog? Appreciate y'all being here. Over 300 people in the chat, man. That fires me the hell up. If everyone could take 1 second to hit that thumbs up icon, I'd really appreciate it. Shout out to the only Brandon G. $5 super chat. Major love, my man. He says, Evan Neal at left tackle can't be better than Illuminor. If AT is out after getting hurt, could be good trade value if he does well. What my opinion, I don't think Evan Neal will play left tackle. I think Evan Neal is behind Joshua Zudu, Brandon, in the depth chart of offensive linemen, offensive tackles that are going to play if Andrew Thomas is hurt. Reason I believe that. Multiple times this year, the Giants have gone with 6 offensive lineman sets. They bring in that third tackle as a jumbo tight end. Every single time it has been Joshua Azudu. I don't think Evan Neal is going to play left tackle. I think that they want to keep Evan Neal as a right tackle. They're not even cross-training him at guard at practice. Evan Neal can't even handle being a right tackle. I think adding left tackle to his plate isn't going to work. And also, while, yes, if Neal goes to left tackle and plays well, his trade value would increase 1,000%. But if he can't play good at right tackle, I don't believe he's going to play good at left tackle. I think it's more likely that Illuminor goes from right tackle to left tackle and Neal goes to right tackle than Neal going to left tackle. But I just believe that it's going to be Joshua Zudu if Andrew Thomas does miss time. That's my thoughts on that. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Brandon G. Thanks for being here. Bill! What's up, Bill? Bill, give me something to feel good about. Give me something to feel good about in the chat, Bill. I also saw you watching Pat Leonard last night. I I went home and I was watching him because I couldn't sleep. I'm up till 4:30 last night because I just can't sleep after games. And I saw Bill and I saw my guy Dash in the chat watching Pat. I was going to comment, but I know Pat always reads the comments. I didn't need him reading my comment and saying what's up to you, but I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. It says, for the mailbag, thoughts on Burns after the game. I feel like that was questionable. Read the misholding call. 100% a hold. 100% a hold. He was Burrow rolling to his left, Burns trying to get off the block this way, and he's held. It was a clear hold. It was a clear hold, Bill. The only thing I can say is when you leave the game in the hands of the refs, you kind of got, and that's how I am. If you leave the game in the hands of the refs, you really got nobody else to blame but yourself. But yes, that was 1,000% a holding. It did not get called. I said it during the live stream, Bill. You can go back and watch it during the play. I was like, Burns is getting held. But, yeah, no, I mean, that's another thing. Giants aren't good enough to overcome one bad call because you scored 7 points.
Daniel Jones won consecutive games twice in that 2022 season. He started the season 2-0, and then lost to the Cowboys. Then he ran off 4 in a row.
So he's...
Yes, ran off 4 in a row. And in the 2020 season, he had a 3-game win streak where the Giants went on a 4-game win streak. They beat with Colt McCoy, beat the Seahawks in that 4th game.
So he has won multiple games in a row, three different times.
In a 6-year career.
Yikes.
And now, to be fair, I didn't check any of the years that the Giants won 4 games.
I don't
so,
think
like,
you're gonna find
maybe they rattled off 2 there. But, yeah.
Not ideal, I don't think.
It's not usually what you're going to want.
Maybe your 7's the year, though.
Yeah. So they're saying. Because you get $41 million cap hit next year. So.
Oh, my God.
Rob Jigga,
$10 super chat. I appreciate you, man. Random thought.
No.
What if the Giants try a trade like the Rams and Lions did years ago? Swap QBs, trade Jones with a pick or 2 for Trevor Lawrence. Jags might rebuild. Contracts balance out right.
Not sure how close they get. Lawrence just got paid.
Yeah, both trades would have significant dead cap penalties to both teams. It's not like the NBA where you just match salary. There's like repercussions when trading some players. I'll say this, and some people may not agree with me. If the Giants had Trevor Lawrence, they would be 5-1, and they would be in first place in the NFC East. I truly believe that. I know a lot of people don't believe Trevor Lawrence is a good football player. I think if you put Trevor Lawrence on this football team with the best defense in the NFC East, a defense that's giving up 8 touchdowns over 6 games, I believe that the Giants would be in first place with Trevor Lawrence. That's my take, though. That's my take.
I remember. I think I said this before I saw you yesterday, and it was funny because like Trevor Lawrence. Remember we said last week that we want all the stock. We want to buy everybody's Trevor Lawrence stock. That game against the Bears made me want to sell a little bit.
Did he not play good?
Oh my God, he was bad. He was real bad.
I'm still buying it.
I'm still buying it. It's at an all-time low.
Sell me all your Trevor Lawrence stock.
He will turn it around.
And the only reason he won't work is because he plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Chronically dysfunctional organization.
Yep. Guys, the Giants have not given up more than 21 points on defense this year. I think they would be in a much better spot with a better quarterback. But that's just my opinion. Picho! What up, Picho? That's my guy. Hyatt, thank you for the super chat, brother. Says Hyatt looks weak out there. He can't even fight off a DB's hand on him. He should have caught the deep ball down the left sideline. I'm starting to understand why he hasn't gotten many looks. Yeah, I thought it was very soft of him that He, one, complained for the flag during the game. He then complained after the game, Smitty, for a flag.
Oh, really?
This isn't Tennessee where you just get to run and hold your arms out and the ball lands there.
He also, didn't make much of an effort.
No, we didn't try to fight through it. I 100% agree.
If you try to fight through it, you're probably going to get the call there.
Yeah, if you make it look worse.
Yeah, he gave the referee no look at it.
Yeah, look, I have been very disappointed in Hyatt this year. And there's a lot of circumstances that go into it. Like, we all know who's throwing the ball. We all know the limitations, hopefully, by now. 5.5 years in, right? But, yeah, I have not been impressed by Jalen Hyatt this year. I don't feel like he's gotten the biggest opportunity. But at the same time, in the opportunities he has had, he hasn't made the most of them. Dropped a pass in week 1. Like Picho talked about, he couldn't fight through a one DB's arm. Yeah, it's been a disappointing year for the Giants offense in totality. Marty, $5 super chat. Thank you, brother. Says, I like how you keep it real. Keep doing just that. You know what, Marty? That means a lot. Thank you, brother. It's not easy, I promise, to be up here as a diehard Giants fan, watching the games with 70,000 people watching, and it's not hard. It's not easy. I try my best. I'm not perfect, but I can promise you this: we all want the same thing. We just want to win football games. We just want to win football games. That's all we want. Cazador, $5 super chat. What's up, homie? Thank you for the love. Says, good QBs win games even when the circumstances aren't almost perfect. Cazador, my question to you is, what do you call a quarterback that only wins games when everything is perfect? Because that's Daniel Jones. I do not, brother.
Legend.
I agree. He needs to live in a utopia to be the 15th best quarterback in the world. He has to have the best offensive line, the best weapons, the best defense, and he might be top 15.
And he might be top 15.
Cazador, you are 100% right. Bush Kid! My man, Bush Kid. Says, we are effed if DJ.
We're act.
Daniel Jones will not be a Giant next year. I can promise you that. The only way Daniel Jones is going to be a Giant next year is if the Giants get to the playoffs. And at 2-4,
looking slim.
The odds are looking slim. Bush Kid, appreciate you being here. Scott Hernan, yeah, buddy. My man, thanks for the super chat, brother, and being here. Always bringing the energy. It's like a square peg in a round hole. Jones ain't the right fit. It's demoralizing to the defense and the fan base. Time for a change. Marshall speaks the truth, keeping it real. Scott, I appreciate you. You're bringing a knife to a gunfight every week with Daniel Jones as your quarterback. Sometimes you will win, but more often than not, you're going to lose. And you're just going to be overpowered. You're just going to be outmatched. You can win games like against Seattle. But I think we've also learned that Seattle is not good. Who are the teams they beat?
Jacoby Brissett, Skylar Thompson, and Daboll Nix.
Okay. Where did the other Giants win come this year? The Browns.
Deshaun Watson.
Might be the worst team in the NFL. And he played good against Seattle. I don't want to take that away from him. Where I am loud for his bad play, I want to be loud for his big moments. He was awesome against Seattle for his standards. He was really good.
But what won the Giants the game versus Seattle?
A blocked field goal. You couldn't even blow him out.
Seattle makes that field goal, they probably win the game.
And you go to overtime. He couldn't pick up a first down in the fourth quarter twice.
I forgot it was tied. Or 3-point game.
Multiple times for Daniel Jones to stick the fork and just keep the drive alive and end the game on your own terms. Multiple opportunities against Seattle to get into victory formation. Didn't happen. It's not that he's ain't the right fit. You are trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. You're trying to fit a backup quarterback into a franchise quarterback. It ain't going to happen.
Daniel Jones will go down as the luckiest quarterback that has ever lived.
Yep.
Luckiest quarterback that has ever lived. The money that he's made.
1-14 on prime time football.
Nobody's ever going to get that type of publicity again.
This man 15 times suited up on primetime football, and we all believed they were going to win.
The nation was watching.
He lost 14 times. Salty Mike, $5 super chat, my man. Says, I want to see the Giants play the, oh, brother, this guy stinks from SpongeBob being played when Danny steps on the field. I also want to see Tommy DeVito.
It's Locktober, everybody.
Locktober?
It's Locktober.
Locktober, I could get down for a Locktober.
Yep.
I could 1,000% be in on a Locktober.
I think we know you know what you got with DeVito.
Today was the first time that I felt like Brian Daboll was fed up with Daniel Jones. Couple of things that he said in his media availability today kind of just made me feel as if he knows. He knows. Brian Daboll to the media. Daniel Jones is doing everything he can to be as good as he can be. I read that as if my mother looked at me and said, Marshall, I know you're trying really hard, but you need to color in between the lines. That's what that felt like. Daniel Jones is doing everything he can to be as good as he can be. In between the lines, Marshall.
Do your best.
Thank you for trying, but it's like this. You clean your room like this. Thanks for trying. What does that mean, Smitty? He's doing everything he can to be as good as he can be.
What $40 million player has ever had that said about them?
He's doing everything he can to be as good as he can be. I also thought when Brian Daboll said the inability to generate explosive plays is a big reason why we aren't where we want to be. Quote, we'll keep calling them, and we have to keep improving in that area. I think those are the two most colorful quotes that Brian Daboll has said as the head coach of this football team. And I think he knows, like I know, and like you know, that he's trying to drive a NASCAR in a minivan. He's doing everything he can to be the best he can be. No, Marshall, in between the lines. In between the lines, right here. See the black lines on the picture? Color in between those. He fucking sucks.
Good try, though. You did your best.
You did your best. Marshall, you're doing everything you can to color in between the lines.
But you just can't do it.
Oh, man. We are going to get to a mailbag. Hashtag Giants or Super Chats. All Super Chats that are Giants applicable, those will be in the mailbag. Flamingo G Gaming. No,
Falingo.
Yes, whatever that means. Thank you for the love. Says, would you rather the New York Giants draft for a QB or find talent experience? Draft. You got to draft a QB. That's the way you build a championship contender. You build up the roster. You draft a QB. You then exploit the salary cap with a rookie quarterback making nearly nothing. Look at the Niners. That's how you do it. That is how you do it. You draft a quarterback this year.
I think the Giants are doing a good job at building the roster that could fit a rookie quarterback.
I agree.
That would not be a situation that if I'm Cam Ward right now, I'm like, oh, I don't want to go to the Giants. No, I would want to go to the Giants. Got a defense that's going to support you and got an elite weapon in Malik Neighbors. They'll probably draft you some more.
And you got a good offensive line.
Yep.
Like, say what you want. Giants run blocking on the offensive line hasn't been great this year. They've been one of the better pass-protecting O-lines this year.
Which has not been something that Giants fans can say they've had the past decade. Really, for a long time in Eli's career, too.
Mark K says, no, Marsh, I disagree. Look at the Lions. Build the defense and sign a veteran QB. Well, they didn't sign him. They traded for him. And I would then ask you, Mark, name another team that's had that similar build, and they're good. Also, which veteran QB do you want the Giants to go out and get? Give me a name, Mark. I'm curious.
Also,
I want to know. I want to know more why you think this way.
Jared Goff wasn't looked at as like a big trade acquisition by the Lions. He was looked to be shipped off by Sean McVay, who makes everybody work.
Yep.
They brought in Matt Stafford. Like that's not how the Giants will be operating.
And I'm pretty sure that they got, I want to say, a first-round pick and Goff.
Yeah, the picks were attached to Goff 100%. And he was the much younger player at the time. Like, Jared Goff was viewed as a negative asset by the Los Angeles Rams. They had to attach a draft pick to send him to Detroit.
Like, Mark, if there is a quarterback out there that's a really good quarterback that's available, sure, pursue that. I've looked at all the options. They ain't out there.
We don't want Kirk Cousins.
And are they getting rid of him?
Probably not.
Do we want to go after Sam Darnold? I'm sure the Vikings are going to feel inclined to pay him. Dak just signed a major contract extension, Mark.
Options are minimal.
Yeah. Rebel Montana, Jimmy G. Yeah, a lot of teams have tried that one.
Jimmy G's the backup for the Rams right now.
We are going to get to a mailbag. Tannehill, he's not even on a team right now, Rob Jigga.
Ryan Tannehill, I actually looked this up last night. How much money do you think he's made in his career?
I'm going to say close to $200 million.
Yep, you're exactly right. $200 million.
Unreal.
And that's why Ryan Tannehill is not on a team right now, by the way. He is more than capable of being on a football team right now. He's more than capable of starting for a handful of teams in this league. But Ryan Tannehill has $200 million in the bank and does not need to go out there and risk his body.
And play in a bad situation.
Yeah, more than likely than not going to be in a bad situation if he were to start somewhere.
Over 310 people in the chat. That fires me up, man. If everyone could just hit that thumbs up icon and like today's video, we're going to dive into our first segment. Once we get to 200 likes, we will do so. We got 318 people in the chat. If everyone could hit that thumbs up icon, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Shout out to all of you. Major love from everybody in the building. Cha says the Eagles can't wait to come up the New Jersey Turnpike. They might come tonight just to get to Jones. Rob Jigga says no boots today. We're at 144 in soups. If we get to 300, I'll do a boot. How about that? Yeah, Bronx boy, there was some complications on that, brother. There were some complications on that 500. But we have figured it out. We figured it out. Me and Greg Congdon were up in the wee hours of the night figuring that one out. We were figuring that one out. He did. No, Greg came through. Greg's a real one. Greg's goated. 30 likes away from 200 likes. If everyone could hit the thumbs up icon, would appreciate it. If you have liked the video, type me. We'll give shout outs.
Yep. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Cody says Rob Simpy in the house. Rob Simpy's the GOAT. Rob Simpy's the GOAT. D. Pat says, are you drunk? No. No, I'm not. Joseph says, getting drunk after another disappointing game is always a good time. Rob says, chat just froze.
Uh-oh, baby.
That's not good, baby. Shout out to Ryan. Shout out to Jared. Shout out to Cody. Shout out to Nope. Shout out to Joshua. Rob Simpy and GC, they're like Shaq and Kobe. They're like Jordan and Pippen. They're like
peanut butter and jelly.
They're like Strahan and Tuck, man. Those guys just bring the heat. Those guys just get it done.
Oh my God.
I'm actually going to go as far as to say that Bill, Greg, and Rob Simpy are this channel's Knicks, Cruz, and Manningham.
Whoa.
A trio of greatness, baby.
Whoa.
A trio of greatness.
That's electric.
I loved when those three played together, man.
88, 82 originally for Manningham, right? And
86
the following time.
86, yeah.
And of course, 8-0 for Mr. Cruz. Victor Cruz, first touchdown scorer in that Super Bowl, by the way. People forget.
Yeah, on the little slant route.
Yep.
Hits his chest, bobble catch.
Yep.
Are they like McCartney and Lennon?
There's 4 Beatles, dog.
Yeah. There's 4 beats. Michael says, what happened to Andrew Thomas? He went foot injury, and he had an MRI this morning, and we unfortunately do not know the severity of that. Mark Estrada says Mike G was Shockey to that trio. Unfortunately, that trio never played with Shockey. Mike G is like Strahan, man. That guy's a Giants legend.
He gets to the quarterback, puts him on the ground.
The fact that we didn't get to celebrate a Brian Burns and Azeez Ojulari legacy game last night is unfortunate, man.
Yeah, Azeez Ojulari played out of his mind.
Ojulari was awesome. Burns was awesome.
Lawrence made a big play.
You need it, and we're like, where's Lawrence? Makes the play of the game. That hurts. Nope. Can you ask that same exact question and include hashtag Giants? I like that question. Can we even sell anyone at the deadline? Your team is built to kind of.
I read his next comment.
I want to see Saquon just get popped. No, I was asking about the trading away players.
Run that question back for us. Nope, we'll include it in the mailbag.
Mark Estrada is making his way up there after what he did last night. We call that a Rookie of the Year performance.
He's rising in the rankings.
Oh, man. Cha says Harry Carson, Lawrence Taylor, and Carl Banks. That was a great trio.
That is a great trio.
Unfortunately, I never got to see that. Cha, who was better, Carson or Banks? I think it's Carson, but I'm gonna lean on your expertise. All right. I guess we couldn't get to 200 likes. 17 likes short. Well,
damn.
You know what? Unfortunate.
It's all right.
Let's dive into this segment. This might be a hot take, but you know what? I think you got to get it done. You got to do what you got to do. With the Giants at 2-4 on the season, Brian Daboll needs to make a decision. And the decision is, do you want to lose the locker room or do you want to keep the locker room on your side? Because I believe if the New York Giants continue to roll out Daniel Jones as a starting quarterback for this football team, this team will quit and Brian Daboll will lose the locker room. If you want the Giants to bench Daniel Jones, hit that thumbs up icon. If you want Daniel Jones to stay the starter, comment why down below. Educate me, because I'm looking for a good reason. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. I appreciate everybody for stopping by. As we dive into a video today that I'm very passionate about and I feel very strongly about. Right now, the New York Giants are at a fork in the road. They need to make a decision. Who do they want to be? Most importantly, Brian Daboll, who do you want to be? Brian Daboll, I believe, has done a great job as the head coach for the New York Giants this year. The Giants team, the players, they fight for Brian Daboll. The 2 wins that they have this year have come from games where they've put themselves in a 7-0 hole early on in the game. And the team didn't quit. They came back and fought. That tells me that Brian Daboll has this locker room ready to fight for him. But I also believe that this defense is fed up. Dexter Lawrence didn't speak to the media following Sunday Night Football's game. He's fed up. Every time he speaks after a loss, he is fed up. Brian Burns sounded fed up in the locker room. And how could you not be? The Giants have given up 8 touchdowns this year, and they are 2-4. The Giants have not given up more than 21 points on the defensive side of the ball this year, and they are 2-4. If you and I know that Daniel Jones is the problem, so does the locker room. and so does Brian Daboll. For the first time this season, I felt like Brian Daboll was somewhat honest and somewhat revealed his cards and his true emotions on the situation. This quote right here literally made me say, what? Shout out to Big Blue View. Brian Daboll. Daniel Jones is doing everything he can to be as good as he can be. AKA, he's just not good enough. Daniel, you're supposed to color in between the lines, but you're doing your best, so good job. This is a quote from a coach that knows that his quarterback is holding this team back. And also, we are just getting started with the locker room reaction. I don't want to go as far as to say outrage, but reaction to the poor play of this offense. Pat Leonard said this on his YouTube channel early Monday morning following the Sunday Night Football loss. Dexter Lawrence skipped the media session after the game. He was gone before the reporters and the media were in the locker room. And I don't blame him one bit. Dexter Lawrence is having the best defensive season by a New York Giant since Michael Strahan. He has 7 sacks through 6 games as a nose tackle. He is second in the NFL in sacks this year. He is a half sack off the lead. Dexter Lawrence is the best non-quarterback in the National Football League. And the Giants have 2 wins to show for it. Dexter Lawrence is fed up. I can promise you that. And I don't blame him one freaking bit. The Giants insider with this, saying, as for Brian Burns, that dude is hurting. And he played his ass off. My man was seriously limping after the game. And he shared some thoughts on his groin that I will keep between us. But don't ever question Burns' heart and will to win. That dude leaves it on the field and takes losses hard. Glad the Giants have him. So Dexter Lawrence skips the media. Brian Burns is playing through injury, and he's fed up with the loss. The thing is, like, if I can tell and you can tell, the players can tell. Most importantly, the players know who the players are. The ballers know who the ballers are. And Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, 2 of the best players in the National Football League. They know that Daniel Jones is not an elite quarterback. And this defense deserves better. This defense is elite. Like, when you talk about the stats that matter, when you talk about the production that they have, don't slight them. Because this isn't a defense that should be 2-4. This is a defense with average quarterback play that would be 4-2 and maybe 5-1. The Giants' defense, when it comes to defensive touchdowns allowed, 6th in the NFL. They've given up 8 touchdowns this year in 6 games. They are giving up 1.3 touchdowns per game, and they are 2-4. Number 1 in sacks. They have the most sacks in the National Football League. They bring the most pressure. They have the number 1 sack rate. So not only are you first in sacks, not only are you first in sack rate, not only have you given up the 6th least amount of offensive touchdowns this year, you also have the 2nd most tackles for loss. You have a top 5 defense. You have a Super Bowl winning caliber defense. I truly do believe that. But you also might have one of the worst offenses in New York Giants history. The Giants offense has scored 8 touchdowns through 6 weeks. They are averaging 1.3 touchdowns per game. They've allowed 8 touchdowns. And you are 2-4. Look, at the end of the day, it just is what it is, man. You're being held back by your quarterback. You are. And I believe that Brian Daboll, if he does not move on from Daniel Jones, might just lose this locker room. Giants defense hasn't allowed more than 21 points in a game this year. And you've lost 4 times. Giants offense is a joke. They average 15.5 offensive points per game. That is 29th in the NFL, behind Skylar Thompson and Snoop Huntley behind Deshaun Watson and behind Jacoby Brissett. And the reason I say that Brian Daboll, if he does not bench Daniel Jones, is going to lose this locker room is because we saw this all last year. This is 2023 all over again. The Giants offense versus the Giants defense. Wink Martindale versus Brian Daboll. Xavier McKinney saying we're playing good enough to win games, and you're not winning games. At some point, you have to try something new. Is Daniel Jones better than Drew Lock? Probably. But why not try something else? Because you're not winning games with Daniel Jones. You're not scoring points with Daniel Jones. You're not scoring touchdowns. And it doesn't matter how many times you bang your head into a brick wall, the brick wall is going to win. And the brick wall continues to win. And that's the opponents that get to play against Daniel Jones. He was terrible against the Cincinnati Bengals. Scored 7 points. Some advanced analytics here. His average depth of target, meaning how far down the field on average did you throw the football? 6.5 yards. What about average depth of completion? On your completions, how far did you throw the ball down the field? 2.2 yards. What about when you threw the ball more than 10 yards in the air? You completed 25% of those passes. You had 0 big-time throws, and you had 1 turnover-worthy play, and you had 3 throws batted down at the line of scrimmage. Average depth of completion, 2.2 yards. Shout out to Doug Analytics on Twitter. Give him a follow. One of the best in the game. An average depth of completion by 2.2 yards is tied for Daniel Jones's career low, matching his 104 yards on 28 attempts versus the Dallas Cowboys in 2023 in Week 1 when the Giants lost 40-0. The Giants had 0 plays of 15-plus yards against the Cincinnati Bengals. 0 plays of 15-plus yards. You will never, ever, ever win a football game when you score or have 0 plays of more than 15-plus yards. Listen to this stat here. Since 2000, only 7 teams have won a game where the offense's longest play gained 15 yards or less. That's just a 0.1% of all games. You will never win games if you can't create explosive plays. And Daniel Jones, he is allergic to explosive plays. And Brian Daboll knows that. Brian Daboll says the Giants' inability to generate explosive plays is a big reason why they aren't where they want to be. We'll keep calling them, and we have to keep improving in that area. Only 7 teams have won a game where their offense's longest play gained 15 yards or less. That's 0.1% of the time. You're asking your defense to pitch shutouts. But I believe that at this point, it's not just the defense that knows that Daniel Jones is not a good enough quarterback to put this team in spots to consistently win games. It is bleeding into the offense. Jermaine Illuminor said this. We felt like we should have won, but we just didn't execute enough to win. You know why he felt that way? Because the defense played good enough to win. The offensive line played good enough to win. Tyrone Tracy played good enough to win. The receivers played good enough to win. You know who didn't play good enough to win? The guy that is the second most expensive player in the National Football League this year. What about Wan'Dale Robinson? We know that we've got to put up points for us to win. 7 points isn't going to do it. I really do believe that the New York Giants and Brian Daboll could lose the locker room if they do not move on. You know why? Because Jermaine Illuminor, Wan'Dale Robinson, Brian Burns, and Dexter Lawrence and I all know The Giants are a good quarterback away from the P word. We're talking P word. The P word. The only P word we care about. They are a good, not even good. They are an average quarterback away from 4-2, which would be tied for first in the NFC East. And you're a QB away. You're a QB away. And that's why I'm optimistic. After last night, what are your thoughts on the future? Be honest with me. Are you optimistic about the future or are you pessimistic about the future? Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to share mine, and we're going to talk more about Daniel Jones and that god-awful performance. But first, I got to give a major shout-out to today's sponsor, Game Time. Download the Game Time app, use the promo code ChatSports, and you're going to get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. You get the best seats for the lowest prices guaranteed. Prices actually drop as the events get closer. And you're going to get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply when you use the promo code ChatSports. You get last-minute deals and flash deals. Views from the seat, in-app, and the lowest price guaranteed. NFL, NBA, college football, concerts, theater events, comedy shows, and so much more. Use these two features, all-in pricing and Game Time picks. It's going to make sure you get the best user experience. Price you see is the price you pay. No hidden fees, and it makes it that much more easy to go see your favorite team play. Shout out to Game Time. Download the app. Use the promo code ChatSports. Download the app. Create an account. Promo code ChatSports, ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. I'm optimistic after last night because the only thing I learned last night is that the Giants are close to being a good team. And it's not because of Daniel Jones. Defense is special. You dominated the Cincinnati Bengals. Offensive line played all right. Tyrone Tracy's going to be a player. We know what Malik Neighbors is. I think Wan'Dale Robinson could be a good third wide receiver. I believe the Giants are good outside of quarterback. They are just missing the most important position in sports. They are missing the position in sports that is hardest to go find. And that's what hurts, right? Because we all know, we've all watching this game, you're as good as your quarterback. And right now, the Giants are as good as their quarterback. Whereas they have so much talent. And the way they've built this roster honestly deserves a lot of credit. But now we got to talk about Daniel Jones. 7 points against Cincinnati is an effing joke. Cincinnati was giving up 29 points per game coming into the game. That was the 31st ranked scoring defense. Daniel Jones scored 7 points. He has to be better. Like, it is year 6. We are almost 3,000 days into the Daniel Jones experience, and we are saying this after he got a contract for $140 million. He has to be better. Daniel Jones has 8 passing touchdowns in his last 13 games. Guys, that is 4 games short of an NFL season. 8 passing touchdowns in his last 3 games. Tommy DeVito threw 8 touchdowns in his last 6 starts. Tommy DeVito has thrown the same number of touchdowns in his career games of 6 starts that Daniel Jones has in his last 13 games. That's more than double the amount of games that Tommy DeVito has started. I also think the best way to judge a player and to feel and get a look as if they're a great player is how do you play when the stakes are the highest? How do you play in the biggest moments? How do you play against the best competition? And I think that can all be summed up into primetime football. Daniel Jones is 1-4. I almost said 1-4. 1-14 on primetime football. But it's worse than that. Daniel Jones hasn't thrown a touchdown. Daniel Jones has not thrown a pass that was either caught in the end zone or caught short of the end zone or short of the sticks. We know he likes to do that. And then run into the end zone in his last 7 games under the bright lights. Daniel Jones' last primetime touchdown came 1,057 days ago. We have gone to bed 1,057 times in between the last touchdown that Daniel Jones has thrown on primetime football. Daniel Jones hasn't thrown a touchdown at MetLife Stadium in 651 days. So you can't win on primetime. You can't throw touchdowns on primetime. You can't even throw a touchdown at your freaking home stadium. The end of the Daniel Jones era is here. The end of the Daniel Jones era is staring Brian Daboll in the face. Brian Daboll, I believe, is a great football mind. I believe Brian Daboll is a good head coach. I believe Brian Daboll has a good feel for his locker room. And I know, and I believe that Brian Daboll knows he is on the verge of losing his locker room if he does not do something to try to help the Giants win football games. Because trotting out 8 every week is not giving you the best shot to win. Try something else. Give your defense some hope. Insert some life into this football team. Because I am tired of watching that freaking mouth breather lose on primetime football again and 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 again. 14 times. That nobody will ever have a worse primetime record in the history of the National Football League than Daniel Jones. 1 win to 14 losses. If you're ready for something new, hit that thumbs up icon and make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_, Instagram at @MarshallGreen_. Hit me up over there and let's go Big Blue. Oh, man. I really do believe this team is a good quarterback away. Not even good, Smitty, an average quarterback away from making the playoffs.
1-14.
Nope, you're actually saying good stuff today. How many staffs have to be fired until Daniel Jones is gone? How many offensive coordinators have to change? How many offensive line coaches have to change? How many first-round receivers? How many receivers? How many tight ends? How many people have to change until we understand the variable that's causing us this lack of success? Unbelievable, man. Just unbelievable. Oh, man. Last call to get into the mailbag. We're going to jump into that right now. Hashtag Giants or Super Chat. Cha says, give the Jets credit. They would have trashed Jones 3 years ago. Yeah, they also trashed Sam Darnold a little early, though, too. But, I wish that. I wish we could move. I'm surprised no winners and losers. Everyone on the Giants yesterday was a winner outside of Greg Joseph and Daniel Jones. And us. Pete Cho says, I like Milrow. Cam Ward's my QB1. Cam Ward is my QB1. Hashtag Giants or Super Chat. Last call to get in on the mailbag. Uncle Tone says, me too. PD has the best deep ball. Where do we need to be in the draft to get Cam Ward? AJ, what's up, dog, AJ? Man, I really don't know. I've heard a lot of mixed opinions on Cam Ward. I'm going to go say he's going to be a top 10 pick, though. I think Cam Ward's a top 10 pick. I'll say top 10. This QB draft class is kind of shaky. There's a lot of different opinions on them so far.
The one issue is, like, no matter what, everybody will talk themselves into the quarterback class once the draft comes around. I mean, think about a couple of years ago. Lawrence, jury's out. A lot of people are out on him already, though. Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, like Justin Fields and Mac Jones. All those guys went in the top 15. Franchises were set back because of it. Gotta hit. You gotta hit.
And the roster's in a good enough spot where, like, if you hit,
you really hit.
Like, I'm not trying to gas it up, man. I really do believe outside the quarterback position, the Giants have a top 12 roster in the NFL.
What happens next year if the Giants hit on a quarterback and they go corner receiver round 2, 3? One of those guys pops and the other guy's good. The Giants are in a position to win a playoff games. Not a game, not make. Playoff games.
Like, what happens if the Giant, like, seriously, if Jaden Daniels was the Giants quarterback, they'd be 5-1.
100%.
If Jaden Daniels was the Giants quarterback this year, they would be 5-1. You would have beat the Cowboys. You would have beat the Bengals from last night, and you would have beat the Commanders. You're a quarterback away from, I believe. And Smitty, this may be me going too far.
Sure.
Having a stranglehold on the division. Eagles are cooked. They have no future.
They stink.
Cowboys are cooked. They have no future. It's you and the Commanders if you get a good quarterback.
I agree. You're gonna get a head start on those guys too, on the Eagles and the Cowboys at least, because
they're on the back end of their runs. They're on the back end of their all-in pursuits.
Yep, and both of the quarterbacks who, I mean, let's be honest, Dak is good. I wouldn't say he's elite, and then Jalen Hurts is honestly bad, and they're locked into both of those guys for a long time, and a lot of money is committed to them.
$90 million cap pick coming up for Jalen Hurts.
Dak was just made the highest paid player in football.
Crazy.
I'm just looking through these to see which ones are good.
Uncle Tone says we lost to Washington. Yes, we did, Uncle Tone. Yes, we did. Gave up 7 field goals. Other team didn't score a touchdown, and we lost. Should have won that game. Nope. Should. Fields' price was too high for our cap. I'd say probably not, just because we might know the diagnosis by the time this video goes out. We just need a QB, and like you said, we're going to be smelling pee. We are literally going to be so deep in the P word if we freaking get a quarterback. Sorry about the bots today. They've been bad. All righty. Hashtag Giants or Super Chat to get on the mailbag. Shout out to everybody in the building. Already 3,000 people have tuned in. No CTM. I hope she's all right. All right. Let's do it. It's mailbag time here on Giants Now by Chat Sports. My favorite video to do of the week, where I just get to answer thoughts, comments, and suggestions and takes, and just kind of just be the guy that is the shoulder for Giants fans, which I appreciate. It's a vent session after another loss on primetime football for Danny Dimes. LTD, $20 super chat. Thank you, brother. Says, what's good, my man? What's good, my dog? Do you know how good QBs sometimes have bad games? Well, Jones is a bad QB that sometimes has good games. Do you agree? I don't agree. I agree. You know what we call those, LTD? Backup quarterbacks. The difference between starting quarterbacks and the difference between backup quarterbacks is consistency. And Daniel Jones is consistently inconsistent. He could play a good game like he did against Seattle, but then he can go out and not score a touchdown against the Vikings and not score a touchdown against the Cowboys and not throw for a touchdown in 1,057 days on primetime football, 650-plus days at MetLife Stadium. The only thing, LTD, Daniel Jones is consistently inconsistent, as well as a guy that's holding this team back. Mike G., Marsh, appreciate you and the commitment of the channel despite the Giants being so bad. Who is the GM and head coach next year? If I was John Mara, Brian Daboll and Joe Shane are the brain trust of this team for 2025 and 2026, no matter what. Because if you are entering the 2025 season where Brian Daboll and Joe Shane are on the hot seat, just fire them before the year. Don't let them draft a quarterback. Don't let them ruin the first year of the quarterback. I want the rookie quarterback to come into a situation where he knows for at least the first 2 years of my career, I'm going to have the same head coach, I'm going to be in the same system, and I'm going to have the same general manager. I want continuity. I want chemistry, and I want familiarity. I want my rookie quarterback to walk into a situation where there is structure. So it's either they are your guys for the next 3 years or they are fired after this year. I would keep him around. I think Joe Shane's done a good job of making this roster competitive with the limited tools that he's had. Shout out Dave Gettleman. And I think Brian Daboll has showed me some things this year that makes me believe that he can be a coach that can groom a young QB. Brandon G, what's up, man? Evan Neal at left tackle can't be better than Illuminor if Andrew Thomas is out after getting hurt. I don't think the Giants would move Evan Neal to left tackle. I think they believe Neal is a right tackle, and they want him to focus on right tackle before switching to left tackle. In theory, yes, if he is good, his trade value would increase. But I have a hard time believing he'd be good at left tackle if he wasn't good at right tackle. I think that it'll be Josh Azudu as the replacement for Andrew Thomas if he does have to miss some time. Bill, what's up, man? Thank you for the love, Bill. Thoughts on Burns after the game? I feel like that was questionable. He definitely got held. Bill. And that's a big-time missed call. But at the end of the day, if you leave the game in the hands of the refs, you got nobody to blame but yourself. But absolutely, there was a jersey tug there. Burns was held. It stopped him from making a play on Burrow. Burns was awesome. Unfortunately, the Giants didn't get to whistle that play. Flalingo G Gaming. I think I got it right this time. Would you rather the New York Giants draft for a QB or find the talent through a trade or upgrade? Drew Lock or DeVito? I'm team draft a QB. I believe the best way to build a roster is to have that rookie quarterback on a rookie quarterback scale contract, build out the roster elsewhere, and then in year 4 and year 5, you are all in trying to win a Super Bowl with that franchise QB before you have to pay him the big bucks. Look at the San Francisco 49ers. They did it. Look at the Eagles. They did it with Jalen Hurts. There's a lot of examples of that. That's the path that I would travel down. Samuel, what's up, man? Your opinion of Tyrone Tracy? I think he is a gem. I think Tyrone Tracy's a player. I do. I thought he left some yards on the table in Sunday Night Football. Not a lot of running room, but I do think he left some yards on the table. I thought he was much better against Seattle. But he also flashed his ability to be a game changer in the receiving game as well. At minimum, I think he is a very nice complementary back, while I think that he could also be a lead back of a system. He gives me Alvin Kamara vibes a little bit. I kind of see some Kamara vibes in him. I like Tyrone Tracy. Hats off to Joe Shane, man. 5th round pick, Tyrone Tracy. I know there are some reasons as to why, but I like it. It is Philly week, and no matter what the record is, no matter what week it is, it's always F Philly, because I hate the shitbirds, and F Snaquan Barkley. Who do you got? Giants, Eagles, NYG for Big Blue, PHI for Philly. Who's winning the game this week? If you type PHI, just frickin' unsubscribe and block the channel. Nope. What up, man? Should we even sell anyone at the deadline? We are built to win at the moment. You got a championship D, and you don't want to get rid of that. Your offense isn't bad outside of the quarterback. So let's peel this back layer by layer, right? Should we even sell anyone at the deadline? Who would be the players that you could sell? You would want to sell players that are going to be free agents this upcoming year. Guys that initially come to mind for me. Darius Slayton is the guy you're looking at. Azeez Ojulari is the guy that you're looking at. And Adoree Jackson. I think those are the 3 guys you're probably looking at the most, right? I don't think there's much of a market for Adoree Jackson. I think Azeez Ojulari could be a guy that I kind of want around. I've always been a fan of his. I thought he popped off the page Sunday Night Football, filled in very well for Kayvon Thibodeau. So we get back to Darius Slayton. Look, Slayton is a solid wide receiver. And I understand why people will say don't trade him. I believe the Giants should trade him. My question to anyone that says the Giants should keep Darius Slayton and re-sign him would be this, right? Wan'Dale Robinson is going to be on this team for a minimum the next 3 years, right? Malik Neighbors is going to be on this team for a minimum the next 3 years. Are we going to pay $13 million for Darius Slayton to be the wide receiver 2? Can you have an explosive offense with Darius Slayton as your wide receiver 2? My answer to that is no. I believe Darius Slayton is a wide receiver 3. And he is a good wide receiver 3. But he also leads the National Football League in drops of players with 35 targets this year. I want 2 dogs. I want 2 alphas. I want a Burrow. I want a Chase. I want a Higgins. I don't want a Jones and a Slayton and a Neighbors. I want another field bender. I want 2 dogs, and I want Robinson in the slot. Slayton is a solid player. I don't think the Giants should pay him. I think they should look to go get a cheaper option in the draft or a more proven game changer at that wide receiver 2 spot. So to answer your question, I would be taking trade calls on Darius Slayton and using the rest of the season to figure out what you have in Hyatt. If he shows you nothing, go draft someone, go trade for someone, move on, and upgrade the wide receiver room. More questions coming up in a second. First, I got to give a major shout out to our sponsor, Game Time, the #1 ticketing app in the game. If you're looking for last-minute tickets to go to the Giants, Knicks, Yankees, Mets, any sort of sporting event or a concert, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that promo code ChatSports, and you're going to get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. You get last-minute tickets and flash deals, views from the seat, and my favorite feature, lowest price guaranteed. Nobody's too cool to get a deal, and that is something I am always looking for. Also, take advantage of the 2 features that are going to make sure you get the best deal of the day. That's the all-in pricing feature as well as the Game Time Picks feature, making it that much more easy to go see your favorite teams, artists, concerts, and more play and perform. So download the app, create an account, promo code ChatSports, get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. The Bronx boy. What's up, sweetie? Sell me on Ward because I have been told another Jameis Winston. Cam Ward reminds me of a bigger armed, much more mobile Tony Romo. He's a gunslinger, man. He makes plays behind the line of scrimmage. He trusts himself, and he is a gamer. I think he's got the best arm in the class. I think he has the most poise in the pocket, and he's an alpha, and he's a leader. Goes from Incarnate Word, D1 AA program, to Washington State, then to Miami. He's been a Miami Hurricane for 8 months, and he's turned around that team. He's turned around that culture. He's got everyone believing. I think he's a bigger armed, more athletic. If Aaron Rodgers and Tony Romo had a baby, it might just be Cam Ward. I'm calling him Cam Marino. He can sling it, and he's going to bring some juice to MetLife. Cam Marino is my #1 QB for the New York Giants. Kay, brief you. What up? How long before you think the Giants make a QB change? Hopefully ASAP. Hopefully ASAP, man. You're playing with fire. It's only a matter of time before Daniel Jones lowers his shoulder like he's been doing on linebackers this year and he gets hurt. It's only a matter of time. As much as I think that the Giants could benefit from a new QB, I'm just as much pushing that he should be benched because of the injury guarantee. That's what I think on that. Dolphin Storm. What do you think of a wide receiver like Mike Williams to complement Neighbors? I feel that he would be perfect. In theory, yes. A big-bodied wide receiver. In theory, yes, a T. Higgins would be good. But I don't think that Mike Williams is actually good. But, yeah, I want another great wide receiver on the opposite side of him. Everyone else gets 2 good receivers. The Eagles get 2. Niners get 2. Bengals get 2. Can we get 2? What up, B. St. Buds 420? How much is John Mara to blame for not having a QB in a draft yet, given what he said on Hard Knocks? John Mara deserves a lot of blame because he wanted Daniel Jones on this team. I can't say that he deserves blame, though, because the Giants didn't draft a quarterback this year. The Giants tried to move up with the New England Patriots. They said no. I'm not going to fault them. Or there's a lot of reason to not like John Mara and a lot of blame to put on his plate, but not drafting one this year, not something to be mad at Mara about. Rob Simpy, the GOAT. 2 questions. You get all the questions. How do we draft and keep improving the defense next year and rule out QB? Okay. So how do you draft to improve the defense? You get a defensive tackle that could play alongside Dexter Lawrence, and you get another corner. You add a legit corner to this team and another pass rushing interior guy next to Dexter Lawrence, I shit you not, you could have a top 5 defense all year. Also, what else do we need to have the offense match the defense? Obviously, you need the quarterback. We all can agree on that. I think you're a good right guard, run blocking right guard away. Greg Van Roten's done a solid job this year. You need an upgrade at right guard. Might need an upgrade at center, but I'll roll with John Michael Schmitz for now. Upgrade at right guard, and another playmaker on offense, whether that's a tight end, whether that's another receiver, a playmaker on offense, a run-blocking interior offensive lineman, a DT2, and a cornerback, and I think the Giants can win the division. And then obviously a good quarterback, an average quarterback, not one that loses 14 games on primetime football compared to one win. Make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_, at @MarshallGreen_, Twitter and IG. Hit me up over there, and let's go Big Blue. Crazy, crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All righty. Shout out to everybody in the building. We got to get out of here. The Yankees game has started. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Seriously, the love and the support that you guys show to this channel is electric. Before the show started today, Smitty's like, what are you expecting? I'm like, you know what? I don't feel good about the audience today. And the fact that it's one of our bigger live shows of the season, over 3,100 people tuned in.
Love it.
We were hovering around 300 people live the entire freaking game. That's awesome. I love you guys. I appreciate you. And I can't wait until this football team is one that we can be proud of, because we got the best damn fans in the world. I love y'all. Let's go Yankees.